Celebrating 100 years at Forbes Magazine. Wow, what an accomplishment. The new issue includes the first ever artificial intelligence magazine cover featuring Warren Buffett. Take a look at it. Joining us right now is Forbes Media Chairman and former Republican presidential candidate himself, Steve Forbes. Steve, great to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Congratulations. 100 years. Much. What a success story. Forbes Magazine, and then you decide to use AI to create this whole new experience for readers. Tell us about that.
Well, you go take the cover. You go onto Forbes.com/100, get the photograph of the cover, have the cover photographed, and then you get a hologram of Warren Buffett, and you get instructions, and you can start asking him questions.
Wow.
No, you can't ask him about the Yankees or anything, but about basic ideas on the investing in the economy and things like that. So even at 100, we're always trying to be on the cutting edge in supplying the information and how we deliver that information, which is one reason why we never got caught up with the disaster that happened with print. Yeah, we were hurt, but we made the adjustment. Key thing is get that analysis out.
And now you've got more online readers than print.
Yes, 70 to 90 million unique visitors each month versus
70 to 90 million?
Each month.
Wow.
And over 40% are overseas, and versus 750,000 circulation for the magazine. So Peter Drucker, the great management guru, once said, always remind yourself, what is your mission? What is it you're trying to do, so you don't get caught up or hung up if the means to achieve it change. And that's what we've tried to do.
This might sound like a silly question, but why Warren Buffett and not somebody else? Jeff Bezos, or somebody who's younger, who's, well, and more cutting edge.
Well, as I get older, I don't think Warren Buffett's age should be held against him.
I'm serious. Like,
no, but he's not the guy of the moment like a Jeff Bezos, as I understand what you're saying.
Right, and to hear from somebody, Steve, who we don't hear from that often. I mean, Buffett is omnipresent.
Yeah, well, we, I think, sort of discovered Warren Buffett back in the late 1960s when he was an unknown money manager in Omaha, and we interviewed him because he had sold all his stocks. And by golly, he picked the top. Then 6 years later, in the bottom of one of the worst bear markets ever, disaster, everyone was selling, he said, which is very un-PC, but he could say it in those days, when we asked him, what do you think about the stocks? He said, I feel like a sex maniac in a harem. There are just so many great bargains out there. So since then, we've enjoyed his insights. And one of the things we like about him is not only has he shown over time that he can survive and thrive, but also he tells you where he's not strong. High tech. He doesn't pretend that he's going to be a high-tech geek. He'll study pieces of it if he feels he needs to do so. Right. And so it's a kind of man who, and several years ago, we did an interview with him and Jay-Z together. Why? Because each of them had achieved longevity both in entertainment and in the investment world. We see shooting stars you have all the time in terms of investment, but he's delivered constantly, sometimes down, but over time, a remarkable performance. So,
yeah,
not
right.
Why, but why not?
He got on Apple late in the game, but he still made money on it.
Yeah,
underline what you say about tech.
And then one of the things about investing is, if a stock has gone up a lot, you think, well, maybe it's too late, or maybe I only get a little bit out. He doesn't let that hold him back. If he thinks there's a bargain there, even though it's going up tenfold, he'll still go into it.
Steve, what do you think about this bull market? We've had a great run, and it keeps on going despite all the noise in Washington. Do you think it's for real? And you talk about getting in late. Is it too late to get into this bull market?
Well, eight-year bull market, it's real. And the reason it's real is corporate America has really gotten its act together, both here and overseas. The real challenge for the economy is not the stock market, which represents large companies. Even so-called small caps are large by most business standards. Is small businesses are having a hard time. Small business formation is having a hard time. That's where we need a good tax cut and deregulation, some of these other measures, so we have the big companies of tomorrow. One of the great strengths, and we've seen it in Forbes, years ago we did the top 100 companies in 1917. Only about 8 or 10 are around today. So there's a constant churn, and one of the strengths of the American economy is our ability to keep creating not just small companies, but the big companies of today and tomorrow. Europe can't do it. We'll see if Asia can do it, but we can. And that's why we've got to make sure to have that right environment.
Steve, I'm fascinated by the fact that you are not only surviving but thriving in a world in which most publications, particularly the legacy publications, they're gone. And Time is barely hanging on. Newsweek is a joke. I mean, the legacy publications are pretty much disappearing. What has been the reason that Forbes has been able to last 100 years and still looks like it's got a bright future? I'm stunned by 70 to 90 million unique visitors. That is amazing.
No, it's incredible.
Well, we've had our ups and downs. We have a fascinating history in the new issue. We nearly went down for the count during the Great Depression. So we've had ups and downs. But the key thing is to remind yourself, as Peter Drucker tells us, what is it you were trying to do? And if the means change, do it. One of the wise things we did 20 years ago, when everyone got in electronic publishing, they all thought taking a printed page, putting it online, by golly, you're in electronic publishing. Which was like when Edison invented movies, they thought if you filmed the stage play, you had a feature film. No, entirely different medium.
That's good analysis.
So that's the kind of thing we did, but it was not easy. This is an era, as they say, you eat well or sleep well, but not both. The eating part I do, but the sleep part is quite another thing.